Ever wondered how all living organisms and their physical surroundings interact and influence each other's existence? Welcome to the captivating world of ecosystems. An ecosystem is more than just a community of living organisms. It's a complex, interwoven network where every organism, big or small, plays a critical role. Imagine a myriad of threads, each representing a life form entwined together to form a grand tapestry. That's an ecosystem. It's not just about the animals, plants, or microorganisms. It's also about the sun, the soil, the water, the air. It's about every physical factor that affects life. These intricate interactions are the lifeblood of our planet. They ensure survival, foster growth, and create balance. From the smallest bacterium to the largest whale, every organism is a vital piece of the puzzle. Remember, an ecosystem is a dance of life where every step, every move counts. The functions of an ecosystem can be broadly divided into two categories: physical and biological. The first category of functions is physical, which revolves around the flow of energy. Picture a grand cosmic ballet, the sun, our radiant star, playing the lead role. This celestial body, a mere 93 million miles away, is the original source of nearly all energy in an ecosystem. It's the sun's energy that sets the stage for the entire performance. The first dancers to enter the scene are the producers, also known as autotrophs. These are the plants and other organisms that perform photosynthesis, converting the sun's energy into chemical energy. This energy is stored in the bonds of sugars and other molecules they produce. It's a magnificent transformation, isn't it? But the dance doesn't stop there. Enter the consumers or heterotrophs, animals and other organisms that cannot produce their own food. They join the dance by consuming these producers, obtaining the energy stored within those sugars and molecules. This energy then fuels their own life processes, from growth and reproduction to movement and even thought. As the dance continues, energy is passed from one level of consumers to the next, from herbivores to carnivores and onward. But here's where things get interesting. With each energy transfer, some energy is lost, mostly as heat. In fact, only about 10% of the energy at one level is transferred to the next. This is known as the 10% rule, and it's why food chains can't stretch on indefinitely. This energy flow is fundamental to life as we know it. It drives the cycles of growth, death, and decay that shape our world. It's the reason why trees reach towards the sky, why birds sing at dawn, why rivers teem with fish. So the next time you step outside and feel the sun on your face, remember, you're not just catching rays, you're witnessing a tiny part of this grand cosmic ballet, a dance of energy that stretches from the sun to the soil and everything in between. This energy flow is the lifeblood of an ecosystem, fueling every interaction and activity. Moving on to biological functions, the first concept to understand is the food chain. Our world is full of diverse life forms, each playing a unique role in the grand scheme of nature. One way to understand their interactions is through the concept of a food chain. But what exactly is a food chain? In simple terms, it's a linear sequence that shows how energy and nutrients move through an ecosystem from one organism to another. Let's break it down. At the start of every food chain, we have the producers. These are typically green plants that use sunlight to produce food through photosynthesis. They are the fundamental source of energy for all other life in the ecosystem. Next in line, we have the consumers. These organisms cannot make their own food, so they consume other organisms. There are three main types of consumers. First, we have the primary consumers, or herbivores, who eat the producers. Then we have the secondary consumers, often carnivores, who eat the primary consumers. Lastly, the tertiary consumers, or top predators, eat both primary and secondary consumers. But what happens when these consumers die? That's where the decomposers come in. These organisms, such as fungi and bacteria, break down dead plants and animals, returning vital nutrients back into the soil. This allows the cycle to continue, with new producers utilizing these nutrients to grow. Picture a grassland where a grass plant, our producer, is eaten by a grasshopper, our primary consumer. The grasshopper in turn is consumed by a frog, our secondary consumer, which is then eaten by a snake, our tertiary consumer. Finally, when the snake dies, decomposers break it down, returning its nutrients to the soil for future grass plants to use. So in essence, a food chain is a continuous circular process of energy transfer from the sun to the producers, through the consumers, and back to the soil via the decomposers. Food chains are the basic units of energy flow in an ecosystem, but nature is rarely so simple. In reality, the flow of energy in an ecosystem is more accurately represented by food webs. This statement paints a vivid picture of the complex and intricate relationships between various organisms within an ecosystem. So, what exactly is a food web? Imagine a spider's web, where each thread is a different organism. Some threads intersect. These are the organisms that eat each other. Others never cross paths. These are organisms that have no direct interaction, yet they all are part of the same web, interwoven in a complex network of energy flow. A food web is essentially a collection of food chains, showing how different organisms are interconnected through what they eat and what eats them. It's a bit like a map, guiding us through the intricate maze of who eats whom in the wild. It's not a simple linear progression from plants to herbivores to carnivores. Instead, it's a tangled, overlapping network of interactions. Why is this important? Well, it's all about biodiversity and ecosystem stability. Each organism within a food web, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, plays a vital role in the overall health of the ecosystem. Their relationships with each other help to maintain a balance, a kind of ecological equilibrium. Take away one organism, and the effects ripple throughout the entire web. Predators may lose a crucial food source, leading to population declines. Plants and smaller creatures may suddenly find themselves without a natural check on their numbers, leading to overpopulation and resource depletion. This is why preserving biodiversity is so important. Each species in an ecosystem has a job to do, a role to play in the grand scheme of things. Lose one, and the whole system can start to unravel. That's why understanding and preserving food webs is of paramount importance. In the end, food webs are a testament to the interconnectedness of life on Earth. They remind us that everything has a place, a purpose, and a role to play in the grand tapestry of life. Food webs show us that every organism, no matter how small, has a crucial role in maintaining the balance of an ecosystem. Another important biological function of ecosystems is ecological succession. Delving into the heart of nature's resilience, we find the phenomenon known as ecological succession. This is the gradual yet constant transformation in the composition of species within an ecosystem over time. It's a little like a relay race, where the baton of existence is passed from one group of species to another, ensuring the race of life continues unabated. The process starts with what we call pioneer species. These are the initial colonizers, the brave first responders of nature who set foot on barren or devastated lands. These pioneers, often lichens or mosses, are hardy, resilient, and capable of surviving in harsh conditions. They lay the groundwork for future inhabitants, breaking down rocks into soil and creating an environment more hospitable for the next wave of species. This second wave is made up of intermediate species. As conditions improve, these species, usually grasses and small shrubs, move in. They further alter the environment, enriching the soil and providing shelter for insects and small animals. These changes, in turn, attract birds and other wildlife, adding another layer to the ecosystem's complexity. Finally, we reach the climax community. This is the final stage of a succession where a stable and mature ecosystem has been established. Dominated by larger plants like towering trees, the climax community is a biodiversity hotspot, teeming with a variety of species that coexist in harmony. But nature never truly rests. Disturbances like fires, storms, or human activities can reset the clock, knocking the ecosystem back to an earlier stage of succession. And so the process begins anew, with pioneer species once again taking the lead. In this ever-evolving dance of life, ecological succession plays a crucial role. It ensures the continuous evolution and adaptation of ecosystems, allowing them to recover from disturbances and adapt to changes. It's a testament to the resilience and adaptability of nature, to its ability to heal, grow, and thrive, no matter the circumstances. Ecological succession ensures the continuous evolution and adaptation of ecosystems, making them resilient in the face of changes. To sum up, ecosystems are complex networks of interactions among living organisms and their physical surroundings. The physical functions of ecosystems are mainly about energy flow. This energy, originating from the sun, is harnessed by plants during photosynthesis and later passed on to other organisms through the food chain. Speaking of food chains, they are a simple linear model that show how energy and nutrients move from one organism to another. However, in the real world, many food chains intersect, creating what we call a food web. This web represents a more accurate depiction of how energy and nutrients circulate within an ecosystem. Lastly, we discussed ecological succession, the process by which an ecosystem changes over time. Starting from a barren landscape, ecosystems can grow and develop into complex communities of plants and animals. Understanding these functions helps us appreciate the intricate balance of nature and reminds us of our responsibility to protect and preserve our ecosystems.